What's up, BoobTube? Josh here today. Back working on the SCOTTY project. So I've made a discovery and I've done some work off camera. Just some basic stuff that, nobody, that you can go find 1,000 videos on how to do on YouTube, so I didn't record any of it. But I've made a discovery. And that discovery is, don't trust what's wrote on the starter motor for what the engine came out of. So if you remember in my other video, I talked about how this says 02 Chevy 60 auto. Well, unless somebody has swapped stuff out between vehicles and stuff from when I bought this motor, which would have been kind of hard since this hasn't been removed and this was all part of the wiring harness. This is an Escalade throttle pedal, which would explain the 4L60E flex plate. Because if my research tells me correct, Escalades didn't come with the 4L80E. They came with the 4L60E, which would explain the flex plate. So that's the only explanation I can come up with for why this doesn't have a 4L80 flex plate on it. But yeah, so things I did off camera. I added 10 horsepower, 5 horsepower each side. Wrinkle red valve covers. They turned out better than I expected for spraying something outside and bugs and shit landing in it. So yeah, they look decent. They're not the best, but it's also not supposed to be the nicest thing ever. Also, picked up a 4L80E with a 3000 stall converter. This has got the HD2 upgrade in it, and it's got a couple of different clutch baskets in it, but everything else on the inside is stock, according to the guy that I bought it. He was making, I think he said he was making 800 horsepower through it, so my goal shouldn't even phase the thing. It should be like shrug it off. But the meat of the matter for today, that's a Jake's Performance converter, by the way, is that right there. So this motor had three broken exhaust manifold bolts. Those three I've already extracted. This is the fourth. That's gonna be a fun one to get at. So I'm going to stick a nut on it, weld it, see if I can't get it to back out. If not, I'm gonna be yelling and throwing tools across the shop for many hours. But let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to roll my welder over here and get it hooked up and find a nut to stick on that, and hopefully we don't damage the head welding that close to it, but it should be alright. I just won't let it get real hot. But anyways, that's the goal for today, is to get that out. And after that, it's pretty much just ordering parts and waiting on stuff to show up, and put stuff together, so I can put stuff together to test fit it in the truck. But let me go ahead and roll that over here and let's get started. Alright, so I got everything set up, got my ground on there, got my bolt that I'm going to stick up there, so it's pretty much going to be hold this over the hole as flush as I can get it, and then weld down in there on the inside, and hopefully when we go to rattle gun this off, it pulls it out. But yeah, so cleaned all my surfaces, and let's go ahead and get this show on the road. Alright, so got that all welded up, and while it's still warm, we're going to try and zap that bad boy out, and hopefully it comes out. Oh, and it just came straight off. That sucks. Alright, well, we shall try again then. Alright, boob tube. We're not home free yet, but it's looking very, very promising. I ended up wasting a couple of nuts trying to get it on here. What I ended up having to do is weld onto the stud and build up some slag. Well, not slag, but material up into the point to where it was hanging out of the head a little bit, and then I could weld the nut to it and it spins. So it looks like this nut is going to get us home free. So if you can see, the stud itself is spinning. So I'm gonna work on breaking this bad boy free, and then looking at the head and making sure that the head wasn't hurt or anything. Also, if you don't use this stuff is magic. It's expensive, but it is night and day better than PB Blaster or WD-40 or anything else like that. So let me see if I can spin this free, and when I come back, hopefully the head will be free of all existing exhaust bolts. Alright, so there's the extracted stud. You can see how I had to weld up onto it and then weld a nut onto it, and came out fairly easy once I got a system down for how to extract it, and it doesn't look like the head got hurt any. Let's clean this up real quick and see if that all comes off. Yeah, it's just slag and stuff from the welder. So, hoorah! The head is now free of all broken studs and everything, or bolts, exhaust bolts in this case, because GM uses bolts instead of studs. Wouldn't have this problem on a rotary. But yeah, so got that out, and I guess I'm gonna end the video here for today. That's quite a bit of progress. I'm now to the point to where I have to order parts before I can move forward. So I'm gonna go spend all of my most recent paycheck, and yeah. So until next time, guys. Deuces.